Wisp Sports Radio, the voice of women in sport.
Hello and welcome. Thank you for downloading Sound Bites on Wisp Sports. I'm your host, Dr. Kirstin Lauritzen. This is Season 2, Episode 12. Today, we are talking about the importance of vitamin A. We are also actually going to dive into a bit deeper into antioxidant supplementation because we definitely need them, but we can also get too much of them and they can hinder or impair our ability to adapt and recover. So vitamin A is just kind of one of those things in antioxidants, which there's mixed research, I think, in many ways of how we utilize antioxidants and then how they can impact how our muscles recover and how we adapt to exercise. So we're going to start that conversation here today. And then also in a later episode where we talk about vitamin C, we're going to dive into this even deeper. So here's just one thing that I really want you to remember is that especially with antioxidants, sometimes we need to just put the supplements down. I do think in many cases we are over supplementing. Sometimes we're under supplementing, right? As you know, the topic of this entire season of Sound Bites is nutrient deficiencies, right? So supplements are oftentimes going to be necessary and utilized. But I do also see that we are relying sometimes a little bit too much on supplements, and oftentimes sports supplements can be packed with different types of antioxidants and nutrients as if they are for the better, but sometimes they can be detrimental. So here's the best thing that I can say, and you'll hear me say it over and over again, is that most people are just not consuming enough foods and a wide variety of different types of foods that have healthy sources of antioxidants. And food in general is the best place to be getting these sources of antioxidants from. Your body just uses them differently than it does with supplements. And there are several studies that will show that. And we will even talk about that later on in this episode. And I know, maybe I'm just talking directly to people in the United States, but I just see over and over again that people generally don't get enough vitamins and minerals from food-based sources like, I don't know, fruits and vegetables. So that's just my call to you, is that if you are just looking at improving your nutrition in any way, just upping sometimes your sources of fruits and veggies is a great place to do that. So, all right, let's jump in. So vitamin A, we're gonna start with why it's super important, but then we're also gonna wrap this up with an argument about antioxidants and supplements, okay? Because I've read in several different books and things where people have taken a stance on that they think that we really shouldn't be supplementing with these different types of antioxidants. However, I actually disagree with the conclusions of how they utilize the research that they did. So here's the deal. Here's vitamin A, okay? It's pretty essential. It's also called retinol. Its primary use and purpose is to support your epithelial tissues, which means your skin, right? The cells in your skin is called your epithelial tissues. But here's the thing. You don't actually just have skin that you see it like on the outside of your body. You actually have skin or epithelial tissues of some type in the GI tract, in the respiratory tract, in your eyes, your nose, your genitourinary tract, right? So there's a lot of areas where we have these different types of tissues, and vitamin A supports those. So I will make a case here that vitamin A is definitely something that is essential. It's necessary for eye function. It's huge for your immune function. And then here's another one. And you guys have heard me, hopefully you've gone over and checked out Mum's the Word podcast here on Wisp Sports. But, nutrition is also extremely important when we're looking at pregnancy and when we're looking at infertility and cases like that. So one of the biggest things is vitamin A is really important for the production of sperm. So if that, and infertility can happen on both sides. So it's, when people are struggling to get pregnant and they want to expand their families, sometimes I will just have them take a quick look at their vitamin and mineral levels and just see if there's something so basic as just that, and sometimes that can make that immediate difference as far as people being able to grow their families, which is an amazing thing. So what do we use vitamin A to treat or to prevent, right? So we can see, and you know this because most people have heard of retinol or retin A for things like skin, acne, wrinkles, things like that. So vitamin A is one of those things that you obviously need to have healthy skin. It also can help with treating things like eczema. Sunburns sometimes can benefit from vitamin A. Also, conjunctivitis is another one where vitamin A may be useful. And if we start seeing things like night blindness, so a lot of stuff that happens with the eyes can be a sign that vitamin A is lacking in the body. You'll also see sometimes things like a vitamin A deficiency. You'll see things like cancer, celiac disease, or they might be associated with them, right? So hypothyroidism, hyperthyroidism, burns, diabetes, they're all associated with vitamin A in some shape or form. And also you may see things like your common colds, measles actually, and hearing loss amongst a wide range of other things that can happen with the body. Vitamin A can be used to treat a wide variety of those. And it really, I think, should be noted that vitamin A deficiency in general is extremely rare in developed countries. You just don't see it very often. And I would say for the most part, like we don't see these outright extreme deficiencies, especially in developed countries, because for the most part, we supplement and we fortify foods. So you just don't see them very often. But still, we can see these suboptimal levels, right? So low vitamin A status may not be a straight out deficiency, but a low suboptimal level is definitely more common than you'd think. And again, it's kind of this, okay, so if you go into your doctor's office and you say, okay, I have these list of symptoms, they don't always think, well, could these be correlated with a nutrition, like a nutrient deficiency or suboptimal levels of something, right? And that's my case, is that, these are things that we should be thinking about, because in many cases, they are that foundation. We've talked about this before. They're the foundation of how your body does what it does. So if you're looking to track down the cause of these different things, you've got to be thinking about, well, what are the precursors to making these things work, right? So this, again, also is another vitamin that we really don't want to be taking too much of. It can be toxic at certain levels. You can overdose on this one, and that overdose can have extreme effects on the body. So just if you presume, or if you think that this could be something that you are needing to treat or to look at, find a practitioner that can help you do that. Now, food sources of vitamin A and particularly beta carotene. So beta carotene and carotenoids are just different pigments that are in plants, in algae, and in some photosynthetic bacteria. And what they do is they produce like bright yellow, red, orange colors in plants, and in vegetables and fruits and things like that. And so carotenoids actually act as a type of antioxidant for humans. And some of them can be pro-vitamin A. So we see with vitamin A and beta carotene, these different, they can be transferred and turned into different things as far as vitamin A and beta carotene. But where you can find some pretty good sources of these of vitamin A is from, you've heard me say it before, but liver and fish oil are great sources, as well as eggs. As I mentioned, vitamin A fortified foods. You can also see them in things like carrots and spinach, kale, cantaloupe, and other fruits and vegetables that are yellow, red, orange, those types of very colorful foods. So if I tell you to eat the rainbow, there's a reason for it. Eat the rainbow. If you can eat the rainbow every single day, that is ideal. Now, here is where we're going to get into the fun stuff. So let's kind of dive into this argument, right? Whether to put down the antioxidant support or not. you clearly need antioxidants so just straight up from a clinical standpoint alone, they are essential for things like detoxification. So supporting your liver, they are essential. They are also very important for supporting different cellular functions, and antioxidants scavenge for things like reactive oxygen species and free radicals, which when those build up can be one of the reasons why people see things like cancer, why we see a lot of, difficulty with aging, and many different things happen in the body when too much oxidative stress happens. You need antioxidants in order to prevent, some of those things. But what I think generally what these particular studies are really showing is that we've really gotten to a place where people would rather supplement than eat real whole foods that are just they're just amazing natural sources of these different types of vitamins and minerals. And this is a really big case for making sure that you get them from foods. So there's a couple of actually major studies that really support the use of antioxidants and their benefits on health when we get them from real whole food. And on that note, they also show that it doesn't necessarily work the same way from supplemental forms. One of the major studies that is used as support for stopping the antioxidant supplement train is one that was performed on smokers. So one of the things that they found is that the synthetic beta carotene increased cancer risk in patients who were smokers. Okay, so you would think, right? So if you were a smoker and they put in these synthetic, so supplemental antioxidants, that should actually decrease the risk of cancer, right? Because it would scavenge those reactive oxygen species and do all those things. So what they found, though, is that it actually increased the risk of cancer. And so the conclusions from this study have been that we should put down the antioxidant support. The problem with that, though, is that same reaction, so when they had healthy male subjects who were not smokers, when they had them take that same supplemental beta carotene, they were fine, and it didn't lead to any significant cancers or issues in non-smokers. So the real conclusion really from this study should be that there was, for some reason, a reaction between that synthetic beta carotene and cigarette smoke. There is a chemical reaction that happens there that's not good. But a secondary conclusion from that is that same reaction didn't happen in smokers and non-smokers when they were getting beta carotene from food sources. Okay. So again, it's a really important thing to mention, because when we start to get into the nitty-gritty of this nutrition world, I know that a lot of patients come and ask me and they say, hey, I don't know who to trust right now, because I've heard I should be doing this, and then I hear from another source that I shouldn't be doing this. And I think the really big piece of this is just if you have questions, we need to go back to the actual resource, the actual research that was done. And then we need to make sure that it was done well, and that the conclusions that were being taken from that to support whatever argument people are trying to make is actually the right, argument to come away with from that article. But we also, and we're actually going to talk about this in, I think, the next episode, antioxidants. And there are still some studies that have been done that have shown that especially supplemental antioxidants can impair recovery and adaptation to exercise. So there's still a case that we really shouldn't be taking a lot of supplements, especially of antioxidants. But again, there's different research that's showing that some we should be supplementing and could supplement, and it could have a benefit. And then there's others that we really probably want to just be making sure that we're getting from food in those cases. So tune in for that next episode, because it's really going to dive into ways that antioxidants can affect how you adapt, right? How you recover, how you train, and those ultimately, those gains, right, that you get from exercise. That's what we're going to talk about in the next episode. But again, I just want to finish this out with the idea here is, we talked about, vitamin, we always end these episodes, right, with food sources of different types of vitamins and minerals. So remember that vitamin A, typically where you get those from is super colorful foods. So vegetables, fruits, yellows, reds, oranges, colorful foods. What I like to say is focus on your nutrition, focus on food. Where are you going to get this antioxidant support from? And if you can get them from natural sources, that's better. So here's your takeaway. Get a wide variety of fruits and vegetables and healthy protein sources, and focus on lots of colors. If you can eat the rainbow every single day and get anywhere between 8 to 10 servings of fruits and veggies a day, that is a fantastic goal.
Happy holidays from Wisp Sports.
That is our episode for now. You'll be able to see links to the references on wispsports.com. Please make sure to follow Wisp Sports on all social media channels, and make sure to share this episode with anyone you think may love it. It really helps us get this podcast out to more people. And it also, if you subscribe and download these episodes, it just helps us know that you're listening and helps support the podcast. So you can also follow me at Dr. Kirstin on Facebook and Instagram, and find me at drkirstin.com. If you'd like to reach us with any questions or comments about this episode, you can at info@wispsports.com. And you can always leave a direct message with us over on social media as well. So thank you for listening, and I will be back in a few weeks with another breakdown of a specific vitamin or mineral.